it's actually quite hard to condense your thoughts on your business down to a short message. There's an interesting, great quote from Mark Twain. Sorry for the long letter. I didn't have time for the short one. And this is so true about how you tell your story about your business, is it's going to take some time to actually craft this down. Now combine this with another a problem that you have, which is called the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge goes a little bit like this. What song am I humming? It's bloody obvious to me. And that's exactly what it's like when you start talking about your business. You know, you go on about it, you assume that we know all the stuff, but we don't. We're just hearing it for the first time. Now, what Marianne forgot to mention is Nick's background came from journalism, and he's no doubt going to share us some bit of information. We're going to start today off with 101 on journalism. You know, when you imagine you've now all been appointed to be reporters for the Don Post. You've all written your story for tomorrow's paper, and hell, there's been a crisis in Auckland. You know, John Key's been shot. Now, I've got the pen on the editor. Who's going to take 200 words off this story? Who's got time to do that? No one. And so when they write a story, they write in what they refer to as the inverted pyramid of information. And so that all the important stuff comes up front. So if we want to put another story in the paper, all we do is truncate the little bit off the bottom. Now the interesting thing with this is I'm a big picture kind of guy. When I read a newspaper on the weekend, I read all the headlines, all the first sentences, maybe the first paragraph. I get the picture of the story. This is the same way how you go about creating your pitch. And more importantly, you know, how do you create, and I do a lot of work with people doing a verbal pitch, whether it's written or verbal, it's the same thing. We need to find 10 to 30 second sound bites, typically a minute to 3 minutes long. These are the little nuggets that you need to tell us about your business in your 100 words, not the big lumps of information. And so what you need to do is create your list of these little sound bites, and then if you've got a chance to pitch to someone, you know what? The interesting thing is, pitching's an interesting thing. All the big deals get done at cafes, on buses, sitting on aeroplane seats. These are when things happen, and you need to have these short little nuggets that you get out. I'll give you the example. You win the bright ideas. You go on and create your big company. You go over, get on an aeroplane and go to San Francisco, get to meet Mr. Big. In your diary it says you've got an hour with Mr. Big. 5 minutes after the start of the meeting, in comes the PA, whispers something in Mr. Big's ear. And he says, sorry guys, something urgent's come up. I need to call this meeting off. It is no point at that point in time, oh, I haven't told you what I came here for. You want at that point, if it actually is a real emergency, for the guy to say, look guys, I'm really sorry about this. I really like what you've got to say. How about we catch up for dinner tonight? You know, I know you're from out of town, I'll make the time. Because you know what may have gone on? He might have said to his PA, hey, these guys have come all the way from Wellington, New Zealand. Let's at least give them 5 minutes. And if they impress us, if not, can you come and bail me out? Because I want to get out of there. And so you get so little time to create your story, which is going to create that impression. This is not about telling the complete story. It's about creating the bait that someone wants to do something with it. Now, I've spent the last 3.5 years helping businesses raise capital. Here's an example of a nice short pitch. I grow maple trees, I put them in a container, cost me $90 Kiwi. I export them to Europe, I sell them for £2,500. Interested? Do you want to find a bit more out? Yes. I'm interested in it from an investment point of view because it excites me, it gets my interest. And so this is our challenge. You know, you've only got 100 words. Think about your newspaper article that says you've just won the Bright Ideas competition. What's the headline going to be? What's the first paragraph going to be? And that's it. That's your 100 words. Simple as that. That's all you need to do. So you need to focus on this short, concise version. The interesting point here is, now I began my life as an electronics engineer. I used to think, create the best widget in the world is going to come to you, and heaven forbid, I'm never going to join the old boys club. But you know what? You can call it the old boys club, you can call it referral marketing. The way stuff gets done in this world is people pass the information on. If it's too big, long and complicated, it does not get passed on. Little quote up there. It's not what you say, it's what they remember and can be bothered to pass on. And I get this all the time. You know, a science guy will be talking to me. Oh, the people who are going to invest and buy my product, they understand science. But you know what? In this country, there's about 100 people that invest in science stuff. But there's 1,000 people active in the business. People like Nick, seeing companies come in every day. If he doesn't understand it, he's not a PhD in science. You're not a PhD in science, are you? No. How does he pass it on to someone else that is, if it's not interesting enough? And that's how deals get done. This is how the real world works. And so we need to find this, we need to pass it on. If you're too long and too boring, you're simply forgotten. I believe you last one sleep. You're the guy I met tonight, or the woman I met tonight. Oh, I can't remember you tomorrow. You know, I see hundreds of people. But in 3 weeks' time, and I'm sitting down in a cafe with someone, if you were the someone who gave me that short, concise story, oh, I met this guy and a woman at the Bright Ideas that evening. I'll get hold of Marianne. I know how to get hold of Marianne. She knows how to get hold of you, and then we've got a deal. I get it. I can pass it on. A little bit about my background. I began in technology, not too far away from here, a little place, PEC, in Martin, a company. We grew a $30 million a year product line. This bit of electronic kit here, I met up with a guy the other day who's still been involved in the industry. We put that on the market 21 years ago. It was the time when the brick cell phone came out. When we launched this product, now this bit of electronic kit is still out there in the field today. In fact, he gave an example in South Africa, 750 service stations still using our bit of electronic kit. How many cell phones do you see out there that are still operating today? And this is a classic case. Contrast, fantastic tool in how you can tell a story of contrasting from one thing to another. And often we overcomplicate stuff. So, get your story right. It's interesting. It's more than just a sales pitch. It's more than how you win the thing. It's how you focus your business. There's a great book written by a guy, there's a couple of guys out of Waikato University called Peak Performance. And they give the example of the Williams Formula 1 team. We make the car go faster. Do I put this part in the car or this part in the car? This part makes the car go fast. I don't have to ask my boss. And you know what? When you start to take your idea and you grow it into a business, please don't be like a lot of the businesses I visit. I ask the receptionist, what do you guys do here? I go and meet the CEO. What do you do here? And then I go and talk to the technical guy. Oh, what do you do here? What's this company do? And I get 3 different stories. Imagine if everyone was focused on working on the same thing. Wouldn't that be great? And what success could you achieve as a result of that? Organisations that get lost, they don't achieve stuff. This is how you get great customers. This is how you get talented people to come and work for you. You want the best receptionists, they've got to understand what the hell it is you do. This is how you get investors. This is how you make decisions about, do I do this feature in the product or this feature in the product? This is what makes our business hang together. So this is just the inverted pyramid of information. Now, here's a classic case. When you get to the next phase of this competition, or even you might even go out of the competition and take this idea somewhere else, you're going to get this opportunity to talk to people. This is 3 or 4 slides from a presentation I saw in Bay of Plenty Investment Forum. These guys make concrete blocks. They get 10 minutes on stage to do their pitch and 10 minutes of questions. Now, the interesting thing was that this is the last couple of slides they showed. Everyone remembers Katrina, you know, the big hurricane that came through. Completely wiped out. One house standing still in the neighbourhood. Made an eco-block, the product I'm here to tell you about today. Unfortunately, I only bought 3 of the 4 walls out of it. Now, the shame is, these guys made this the last soundbite they told the audience about. And in that last soundbite, I saw everyone sit up in their chair and they all of a sudden started listening. And you know what? 10 minutes question time came. And the 10 minutes of questions was about the stuff they covered in the first 9 minutes of their pitch. So make sure you start with something, the first little soundbite. In fact, a lot of what I do in coaching people is find out what the sound bites are and then play around with the order. You've got 100 words, but the order in which those words come out is important. Start with something that captures people's attention and grabs them, that says, hey, you would think that, 100 words, surely these judges are going to read the whole 100? No. Life's not like that. Life sucks. I know there's an investor who invests in businesses in Wellington who catches the cable car. 7-minute ride to work. He reads an investment proposal in 7 minutes. He makes a decision whether he's going to invest in your company or not in 7 minutes. Because he sees hundreds of these things. Last year they had, 1,200 applications for this process. How do you stand out from 1,200? Every word counts. Every word means something. Open with something which is going to attract the attention. Now, this is one of the interesting things I see a lot of the time, and people get so confused about. It's like, what goddamn business are you in? Let's start halfway down. CRM, Customer Relationship Management Software business. Now, I used to be in the game of software. And trust me, I know that people who write checks out for software are CFOs and CEOs. Now, at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, are they waking up saying, oh my gosh, you're going to go and buy software today? No. They wake up with real problems, wanting to solve real issues that they'll pay for. The interesting thing is, software developers wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, Ruby on Rails, .NET, Drupal, or whatever the latest thing is that they're playing with today. This is your world, not the world of your customers. The world of your customers is so focused around solving real problems. Real problems that they'll pay money to solve. Likewise, let's take the example of Swatch. You know, you think of watchmaking. I think of watchmakers. I think of German. This is a German. I met over the back of the corner of the room. A German over the back of the room. I think of Germans and Swiss people making watches, blue, white lab coats. You know, that's what a watchmaker is to me. But you know what? Swatch had this point in time in their life where all of a sudden digital watches came of age. People weren't going to pay top dollar just for a watch anymore. You know, that people used to think a watch was something to aspire to own. And all of a sudden that wasn't the case. And then someone said, well, hey, what if we become a fashion company? And if we're a fashion company, all of a sudden people can buy 2 or 3 watches. You know, it's a fashion accessory. And you know the most important thing? What's the next employee look like? What's the next building look like? What's the next advertising campaign? It's about fashion. It's not about watch. Do they still make good watches? Yes. In my 30s, I used to race motorcycles. Trust me, I'll never own a Harley Davidson. Ever. You know, they're into rivets, leather, tattoos, this sort of stuff. Not about how fast can you corner, how fast can you brake. It's a different world. Focus on the stuff that counts for your customers. Actually, before we skip off this, interesting point here. A lot of people will be saying, oh, yeah. There's a great book, I suggest you all read it, called Crossing the Chasm by Geoffrey Moore. And he talks about chasm, depending on where you went to school. This bunch of people down here called the early adopters who buy your product. These people are fascinated with product and craft. I'm one of these people. I lined up down at Lambton Quay, 11 o'clock at night to 3 in the morning to buy an iPhone, and I already had one in my pocket. Why? Because I'm fixated around this stuff. I love this stuff, I love the product and craft. But the interesting thing is, so many businesses fail. They fail in this little gap here. Do not be one of these. Start right from the beginning, focusing on the stuff that really matters for your clients. The interesting thing is, I see this all the time. Businesses, they start, they're selling, they're going great, and then all of a sudden the sales flatten off. Why? Because they're selling to product and craft rather than the essence or the stuff that their customers really want. They've run out of people who want to line up at 11 o'clock at night to buy the latest, greatest thing. This is a great way to start your business, but it's not the real market for growth. Now, the other interesting thing is when people buy stuff, they buy because of one of 3 reasons. Financial, strategic, or personal. Now, in the business-to-business space, typically financial. You know, if you can make more money, save more money, that's great. Now, here's the tip here when it comes to pitching. You have got to quantify the change. And so one of the big takeaways I want for you all today is quantify the difference you make. To say to me that, hey, look, I'm going to sell you a product for your business that's going to save you 5% of your costs, you know what? I'd much rather go and hang out with my wife or spend a little time with her as it is, or go for a ride on my bike. 5% is just not worth the effort. I can't be bothered. But if it's a big enough difference, then too right. I'll go out of my way to actually go on, oh yes, I'll go through the pain of change and I'll buy it, I'll make the difference. So hence here, measure the gain, make sure it's a number, 30% or bigger. Are you making a big enough difference? Strategic, are you changing for the long term something about the business and how it operates? Now, a lot of you might be thinking about ideas in the consumer space. I've actually packed my little toy away. I'll get it out because, you know, I'm into toys, as you must have already gathered. Now, I used to work for corporates, and I used to come up living in corporate land. I always got in trouble with the CFO and the IT manager because I would never follow the policy. Those that know Grow Wellington, I used to wind people up in that area. I used to work there. Wonder why I don't now. Right, so the point is, I used to come up with financial, I'm in marketing or I'm in new ventures, I've got to be seen to be doing the latest, greatest thing. But now I work for myself, I can tell you the honest truth, why I buy this stuff. This is cool and sexy. And so if you're going to do something that is in the business to consumer space, maybe the measure of success is not a number or a financial thing, but it's enough to make people change what they're doing to the point where they'll pay money for stuff. It's pretty fundamental. Please don't fall into this trap. We have lots of people working on stuff. They're the best at in the world. They're really passionate about it. This is what I call a hobby. Don't fall into this trap. There has got to be something where you can make some money off it. Money from the customer's point of view, from the business's point of view, and then ultimately the shareholder's point of view. Now, if you're in business to consumer, the measure of success may not be money. It may be just simply it's cool. And how many people here, a few people, older people here, got kids? Do they come home from school or from university in the break and say, Dad, can you buy me an HP? Or can you buy me a Dell? Trust me, I've got a daughter at Canterbury University. It's like at Canterbury University. Dad, I've got to have a MacBook Pro. I cannot go back to university next year without a MacBook Pro. Yeah. And this is the personal sell. And so work out what you've got. Is it in the financial, strategic, or personal? And how are you wrapping your story around that says, bang, this is what we're about. Now, it may be lots of other things. Your problem is not that you have got a lack of things to say. It's what is it that you do not say about your business that still doesn't give away the story and gives you the headline that you're looking for. What's your headline story going to be on the Dom Post when you win the award, and what are the couple of little sound bites that you put with it? Now, the interesting thing is, numbers here, a bit of research. The probability of making a sale as a result of using some proof. Customer case right at the top. And so after Quantify, the next big one is going to be customer stories. These are the most powerful tools you have got to sell your message. Can you imagine what it would be like if Johnny could do this rather than that? And so the next point I'm going to bring up is to use contrast. Before and after. And if I add wow on the top, you've most probably just saved yourself a whole half day that I did this afternoon running a workshop on pitching, because this is all you've got to do. You want to create a concise story about your business. It's simple. Wow, quantify, customer stories before and after. People get it. They understand what difference you make, and they're going to do something about it. Demonstration, data. Now, a lot of you guys, you're all going to be playing down here in Vision. As soon as you can get some famous person or some person in the industry to say, hey, look, when Mary Ann comes to the market with this product, it's going to change the world. Now, it's no good Mary Ann saying that. But imagine if you've got a software as a service and Rod Jury stands up and says, hey, look, when you launch this, this is going to transform the industry. And this is where you can shift your vision into a third-party endorsed statement which actually sells what you've got. This is by far the most powerful thing. Later on, when you sell your products, my suggestion is never ask someone for an open-ended endorsement, because typically they won't do it, or it would just be mediocre. The most powerful endorsements are the ones that you give them. You just send them a little email. Hey, do you mind if we quote you saying this? Blah, blah, blah. Customer story before and after. And you've quantified it. You've quantified the difference. And then you're moving ahead. Here we are. I jumped ahead a little bit. How many people here can remember the Ansett airline TV ads? Dropping the keys out the window of the aeroplane, Fluffy the cat. How long ago was that?
20 years ago.
Yeah, they went bust 13 years ago. So for you younger people in the room, don't worry, you must be watching TV then. But these are stories which stuck in our head, and so the one I use when I go to universities is the bugger ad. The Toyota ad, 1999, yet everyone still remembers it. Why? Because it fits one of these formula. Stories, contrast, props, and fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so these are things that you can use to emphasize your story. Mostly not something you can bring into your first 100 words, but certainly the story thing works every time, and my encouragement, please look for ways in which you can do that. Now, who can tell me what the Subway sandwich story? What story do they tell about Subway sandwiches that helps them sell more Subway?
Losing weight.
Losing weight. What was the guy's name?
Jared.
Now, this is a fantastic book written by these guys called Made to Stick, and they've got this formula called success. Pretty simple. He's fat, unexpected. He eats fast food. It's concrete, incredible. There's his trousers, there he is, and it's a story and it's an emotion. These things work. This is how you create viral stuff. You want to, as soon as you possibly can, get lots of people all around Wellington, all around New Zealand, all around the world talking about your product. Because this is how you create the momentum behind it to actually get stuff to happen. Please don't shy away. If you can just simply tell someone what you're going to do and they can copy it, go and find another idea. But when you've got to create this vision and get all these people behind you, stories, before and after, are the most powerful thing. It's interesting. They had a software startup weekend about a month ago. I don't know anyone any budding software engineers in the room. These guys, they get together on a Friday night. They all stand up and do their pitch. There are about 10 pre-prepared pitches. There are about, I think, another 19 random pitches, people feeding off each other's ideas. And then they have stickers. You have, like, I'm a business person, I'm a designer, I'm a software developer. You have a different badge on you. They go and form teams. On the Sunday night, they get back together and present their products. I think a week after that, I think it was some taxi surfer was the winner of it. They launched a website, had an application, an iPhone app, all going. A little prototype thing over the weekend. I think by the Friday afterwards on the Twitter thing, they'd received a cease and desist letter from someone in the US who was trying to shut them down because they thought it was their idea. There we are. You can create a hell of a lot of momentum in a very short amount of time if you really get the focus around what you're doing. So have a look at these stories. Bit of a segue for Nick's presentation around, it's interesting, I did a book review on my blog the other week. The book was called Why Do Business People Talk Like Idiots? It's so true. We fill up with all these big verbose words. And one of my clients gave it to me, thought I might be interested in it. It was a fascinating book. But here's an example. This company had this ad in the paper, and the sales brain guys came along and said, look, delete all those words, it's quite simple. They're a car rental company. Save time, save money, get the car. Cars direct. Log on today for great prices. Simple as that. And so when you write this stuff down, don't worry about the 100 words to start with. And then Nick's going to give you a whole lot of tips to start deleting words and look at if I get rid of this, does it really matter? Do I still get the point across? Then we're fine. Then we can sort of move ahead. Here we go for time. Okay, so this is my investment pitch that I give people 1 to 3 minutes to pitch to. Please don't be one of these people if you get down the track and go and pitch to a bunch of investors. One day I'm going to set up this TV show. It's going to be called Who Can Guess What This Company Does? I don't know if you ever watched Dragon's Den, because often it is very much like that. And certainly I've seen hundreds of people pitch to investors, and they get their 10 minutes on stage, and then it's like, so I'm going to set this show up. It's going, who can guess what this company does? 10 minutes on stage, first question off the floor. Always guaranteed. Oh, so you mean you do this? And then the next question, oh, so you really mean you do this? Please don't fall into that camp. Spend time, get some outside help, critique it. What is the product or service you do? What problem are you solving? These are questions. These will help you refine yourself down to the pit. Now, if you're after money, very quickly we're going to you might be in the business of pens. I've made this really cool pen. But if you can very quickly articulate, how do you make money off making pens? Because that's what a business is. It's not a hobby. And so if there's a nice simple story around the margin that you can make, then you've got a business. So what makes you different? Because we want a sustainable competitive advantage. How do you make money? How does it scale? How do we change from shifting from 10 pens to 100 pens a minute? Tell us something about yourself. Now, most people are not going to get a chance in your 100 words, but down the track, the next thing you're going to have to do is fill out more information. Interesting enough, everyone knows, oh yeah, people invest in people, not business plans. We hear it all the time. The jockey, not the horse. Or, people would much rather invest in a B idea with an A team than an A team with a B idea. Sorry. Been a long day. They'd rather invest in an A team with a B idea than an A idea with a B team. Tell us something about yourself. It's interesting, I see lots of people pitch for money, and we get to hear nothing about the people, the team. This is a large part of whether you're going to be successful or not. I'd encourage all of you as you go on this journey, if you're doing this by yourself, find someone else to come on board. When I used to run the incubator in the end here in Wellington Creative HQ, I would never allow someone to come into the incubator if there was a one-person business, because you will not survive. There's just too much to be done. Convince someone else to give up their day job and follow your dream. And then you're going to be somewhere you've got a chance to actually get enough wind underneath your wings to get off the ground. You're not going to have time in your 100 words to do all those 6 things, but keep your mind consciously thinking about that stuff. So I think we're sort of wrapping towards a close. Yep. So a couple of little points here. Always work on your small version of your pitch first. You can turn a 3-minute or 100-word pitch into 1,000 or 1,000,000 words, but you can never do the other thing. It's like, here we are. Luckily, I drafted this out. If I've got to deliver this pitch, this becomes a 4-hour work. I can easily, in fact, I spent the whole afternoon today talking about the same stuff that I covered with you in what we've had half an hour together. With the half an hour version, I can make the 4-hour version. But it's very hard to turn the 4-hour version into a half-hour version. So always start with a concise, succinct story for your business first, and then try and expand it out. Because in that thinking process, you've got to stop thinking about the other lumps that form the other part of this funnel, and you focus on the stuff that makes the most difference. Be challenged, be different, be bold. I think this is a fantastic competition. I wish you all the best. Customer story is my #1 takeaway for all of you. If you get a chance to go and spread the word verbally, look at doing it with a customer story. It works really well. Thank you very much for your time and attention. We're going to run other workshops through the program. There is another pitching workshop coming up shortly in June. Certainly the last one currently under the escalator thing, but there'll be more coming down the track, and I'll be participating, no doubt, through the rest of the program. Thank you very much.